10% happier. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, and who doesn't want to make self-growth normal, then make sure to smash that like button. The title of this book reminds me of something I said about something I heard in Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. For probably too many reasons to list, a lot of us, we find ourselves working even when we're not working. We're getting more done than ever. We're in an age where we're more connected than ever, and we're moving faster than ever. But are we happy? I've never met anyone who says they don't want to be happy. Published in 2014 by Dan Harris, a reporter for ABC, Nightline, and the weekend edition of Good Morning America. Would you expect a book called 10% Happier to come from a reporter for trusted news sources? I mean, you have to break news that the public might dislike, ask questions interviewees might not be comfortable with, and deal with a fat with a PH variety of people regarding topics that you can just seemingly talk about forever. All in a cutthroat industry, noisy. Social media, this is not social media where we are marketing ourselves for the attention of others. This is media where they are marketing the events involving others for the attention of us. It's known to thrive on crisis. To hear a solution-oriented reporter, he's coming from this and he's proposing a solution with like this platform that he's building. I mean, that's quite refreshing, but what would drive a reporter to start meditating? I will say I was surprised by the sheer volume of stress that this guy seems to have put his brain through for quite some time, yet I will drink spoiled milk before putting spoilers in my book reviews. So I won't include a lot of what happens, but given his dedication to his occupation, how demanding it can be, what do you think his learning curve is like? Meditation. Have you ever talked to just like anyone about meditation before? Most people I've talked to have said it's extremely hard. You wouldn't think so, but doing physically nothing but just sitting down and like focusing on your breathing, it is a lot of work, especially at first, because that actually opens you to how impatient your mind is. You have an inner narrator who is the reason why you open the fridge when you're not hungry. You pull out your phone in the middle of a face-to-face conversation, or you hit the snooze button when you've been late for work like 10 times and you don't want to be late for work again. Sam, stop. It's been a long day. That's probably why I'm talking to myself in the middle of a video. So in this review, I'm going to talk about a lot of things in this book that sort of surprised me. Some things I noticed that were interesting about how the book sort of unfolds its story. I'm going to read some standout quotes. I'll tell you who I recommend this book to, as well as what books to maybe check out next. The preface briefly examines meditation, because the author says that in his experience, it makes you 10% happier, which he really seems to stress his acknowledgement of that, like, that is a very, like, probably absurd and unscientific estimate. Like I've said in other reviews, you can't quantify emotion. You can't measure how happy you are. Like, so what he's trying to do in this book is demystify meditation and show us that if it can work for him, it can work for us. His writing style and narration from the get are quite candid, which I'll speak on later in the review, but beyond there, it can be a tad vivid from time to time. For example, in Israel, after a suicide bombing outside a seaside hotel, I watched as an ocean breeze sent a bedsheet billowing off the ground, revealing a row of legs. In Iraq, a group of Marines and I stared at a bloated corpse on the side of the road as we collectively realized that what we thought were gunshot wounds in the man's face were actually drill holes. In the West Bank, I stood next to a father watching bodies being dumped from a forklift into an impromptu masquerade in a parking lot. This is just like a glimpse, by the way, of what this man went through as a news reporter for years. I mean, from there he explains his experience with drug addiction, which is very strange and like not as like pull the demons out from my closet as so many other drug addiction stories I've heard. And eventually started seeing a counselor. He noticed he was maniacally pursuing airtime, going into war zones without considering the psychological consequences of doing so, then using coke and ecstasy for a synthetic squirt of replacement adrenaline. And when he realized that, it was like he had been sleepwalking through an entire cascade of moronic behavior. You can really tell that this guy has like seen, heard, and said a lot of things. And the further I got into the book, the more I was intrigued by those, like how he described his falling for this girl Bianca, what it did to his personality and like work reputation, how he touched upon the industry of meditation and spirituality, as well as his interactions. This is some of the sauciest stuff in the book. His interviews with its key figures like Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra. He interviewed the Dalai Lama as well. I loved what he had to say about the Dalai Lama. That dude is he's such a jolly little, he's like Winnie the Pooh in human form. But he's like, are these people so correct in their teachings that it's all just a lie, or is it unbelievable, and so unbelievable that it just might be true because not really anything else seems to make sense? Eckhart Tolle, in his book The Power of Now, my third favorite book ever, it explains there is a difference between you and yourself, you know, the ego, and the book really explores the different destructive habits of that. What Dan Harris didn't really like about The Power of Now is that he says that there wasn't really all that much practical advice in it, despite how compelling Tolle's thesis was, and how much like, wow, this might be really revolutionary in the field of self-help that book held. There's a lot more on that obviously in the book. I mean, aside from me not trying to not put spoilers in my reviews, I really don't think I had all that much to say about this book, for a reason, and for a reason that I don't encounter often. I was just very, very captivated by it, you know? You ever start a book and you're like, meh, but you keep reading it because either there's nothing else to do, or you just realize that you're gonna beat yourself up if you do not finish it before going on to the next, or it's been 4 days since the last book review that you put out, Sam, and you need to get to work. So you just keep reading it, and after a few chapters, it like devours you, and until you finish, it's like your mind is in a totally different world. Well, that's what this book was for me. Easily. And that doesn't happen often for me because primarily these are non-fiction books that I review. To my knowledge, they are not designed to take your mind into a different world. The last time it happened was with The Everything Store by Brad Stone, although I can't name anything else at all that this book and that book have in common. The one other book that I can think of off the top of my head is kind of the Truth by Neil Strauss. Really anything by Neil Strauss. This guy Dan Harris and Neil Strauss, they both just have very like expressive sort of this touchy writing style that really gets your imagination up and running. That being said, Strauss is also a journalist. From seeing accounts where he goes into like meditation retreats, he talks about his experiences with those, which are, I mean, it's very captivating. Like all of this is very captivating. It's probably more captivating than I'm making it sound in the review. And then he talks about where like now like meditation classes are being taught in like companies like Target and Google and Procter and Gamble. These are the people who I think bring us Hamburger Helper, and they're taking meditation classes. And how now it's all over entertainment, military, sports. After the book, in the audiobook, it's like followed by like multiple meditation. There's like a sitting meditation, there's a standing meditation, there's a walking meditation, there's a guided relaxation and a sleep meditation. The whole thing overall is an excellently thorough reply to a composite of many different objections I've heard, if at least not considered, regarding many sayings and cliches and ideas in the meditation world. You can hear this in his writing, but this author believes that meditation is the next like public health revolution. If you ask me, like, if there had to be one, I don't know what else it would be. He believes eventually it's gonna join the portfolio we have of no-brainers that we're taught to do from young ages for optimal health, like getting exercise, eating your vegetables, brushing your teeth, and smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm if you haven't done so already, because you know, it helps with a lot of things, and I also really appreciate it because so much work goes into making these videos. This book shows you the opening of this man's eyes into like a world that changed his life in a way it's not 100%, but definitely at least 10%. And 10%, if you ask me, is a considerable return on investment. Quotes. We are in the midst of a momentous event in the evolution of human consciousness, but they won't be talking about it on the news tonight. Who is this guy kidding? Is he really saying that he's never in a bad mood? How could he sit there and claim that? It sounds great, of course, but so did learning how to fly. The best self-help program was developed 2,500 years ago, which held the view, oddly enough, that there was no actual self to help. Direction 1. This guy said in his Google talk that if you can strip away all of the syrupy, to be frank, kind of annoying talk that has been used to promote meditation for far too long, then meditation could be far more accessible to lots of smart, skeptical people who would never otherwise go near it. And I've always thought this, actually, ever since I checked out Power of Now and, interestingly enough, started learning about marketing and persuasion from there. It's pretty obvious that this guy loves to think about things, but reasons it wouldn't make sense to meditate, they are taken care of. If you have a lot of reasons not to meditate and you need those to be taken care of, then you are who I recommend this book to, Direction 2. If you like this book, I mean, the only book that I can really think of off the top of my head is The Power of Now, you might like, by Eckhart Tolle. That book is just like, a mentor of mine said that at his worst, what he did was every time he felt anxious or depressed, he read that book and he put a bookmark on it when he felt better. And when he finished the book, he would just restart it. And he did that for 7 years, and it made a total renovation on not how he saw himself, but literally how he saw his self. 10% Happier by Dan Harris. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video if you want to check those out too. If you guys buy anything through these links, then I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos. But if there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my reviews and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.